Hello, this instructional presentation is all about building your Conferring Toolkit or binder. I will share the original Google Slides presentation on Canvas with you, and in the notes section for each slide, you can find a hyperlink to the document I'm discussing, and you can download it and print it out and put it right in your binder or toolkit. So let's get started. The first section is called must-haves. In my opinion, this is what should be in everybody's toolkit or binder, and when I mentor new staff, these are the items that I have handy and ready to go for them. This is a document shared by Teachers College. This is what they consider to be must-haves. If you happen to use a workshop model, or units of study, this might be a helpful infographic. According to Teachers College, they think you should have notes from previous conferences and groups. So the last time that you met with them, what did you talk about? Can we build on that this time? Any work from the genre that you've been doing as a class, your bands of text complexity, which I will get to in a future slide here, a child's reading life, their reading log and conversations, so you can talk to them about their reading life. The child's thinking, so they need to come with things too. They're writing about the reading, so you know what they are thinking as they read. Learning progressions and major skills of the unit, of course, I will get to that as well. Children's goals, whether those are goals that the child developed or that you developed together. And conversations between readers. So the very first thing that I have after my table of contents in my Conferring binder are informal running record forms. I have two options here for you, but there are many options on the internet as well. These are just happen to be my two favorite. On the left is the informal blank running record form where you can do an MSV analysis, which I think is very helpful for our primary or younger readers. I would use this all the way up through 5th grade if I had a striving reader, perhaps under level like N. And then on the right-hand side is a Teachers College in-book assessment. This is much more thorough, and it outlines actual, in addition to an MSV or an accuracy analysis to make sure that the book is a good level and a good fit, there's some follow-up questions. You can analyze their fluency and intonation, and some general comprehension questions to help see more than just is this child able to read the book accurately, but are they actually understanding it? So some great comprehension questions to guide you as well that can be used with any book. I also really encourage you, you can't get away without having a teacher log, some kind of note-taking system. So I've shared 3 different options with you in the links of the notes section on this slide, but you can use straight up pencil paper if that's your shtick, or I've even had teachers use, they create their own Google form, so they walk around with an iPad and fill out the Google form and turn it into themselves to compile everything electronically. Just some way that you're recording what you talked about and what your next steps for that student were, so that you can follow up with them next time, and so you can ensure that you're meeting with all of your students in an equitable manner. So whether your goal is to meet with every student over 2 weeks, or you want to make sure you check in with a child 3 times a month, whatever that may be, this helps you keep track. I also encourage you to keep a bands of text complexity at a glance. So what are some key features of, let's say, a NOPQ book? So everything in the NOPQ band, though Q might have more difficult language than N, the content of those books are all very similar. They all have similar elements to their tricky parts. Their structure and plot are all very similar, and the character development patterns are all very similar. So this will let you know what to expect. Also, you can take a look ahead at like an RST and see what is it that this child is going to need in order to bump them up to the next band. It's not just their ability to decode words. They need to be able to understand RST text types. And then for under levels J, K, and L, through levels A through J, instead of features about the books, I have a link to a document called Leveled Text Reading Strategies, and these are strategies that students need to be able to demonstrate in that text level. These are behaviors, strategies, or skills that they use to make sense of like an A-B book, or what kinds of strategies do I need to attack a D-level book. Again, this is really helpful to help them work on the book that they're currently tackling, and also to look ahead, what skills do they need to bump up. It's a great idea to have anchor charts and mini charts. Whatever your curriculum may be, you have learning targets and you want to have those handy. In Teachers College, that looks like anchor charts, the colorful little boxes on the left. You could also have reminders of what good stop and jots look like when you want students to stop and write down what they're thinking about while they're reading. Any kind of materials you use to get across the learning targets is what you need. One thing I saw a teacher do that was really quite genius is she got library card pockets and she printed out a bunch of anchor charts and organized them so that when she's working with students, she can just pull out the one she's referring to and tape it right in their reader's notebook, or if you can use a sticky, stick it right inside their book and leave that with them to think about. I always keep learning progressions in my Conferring binder, so organized by narrative reading and informational reading, and then so I can see which grade level that the student is performing at and what the next grade level looks like. So where are they on the progression? I also keep learning progressions for the writing. And again, in the links in the notes section, there are links if you want to download the Teachers College versions. If that's the curriculum you use, you're welcome to it. However, whatever curriculum you use, you should have very clear learning progressions for students. And of course, we can never have enough sticky notes and writing utensils. Here are some optional ideas that I think are really fun and helpful. If you've really been enjoying Saravello's Look Fors by Level, I have scanned them all in. I'm sure it's illegal, so let's just keep it on the down low. But if you'd like to download and print out the specific Look Fors by Level, they're in the notes section for fiction and nonfiction, as well as the progression of skills for fiction and nonfiction, as well as the goal progression of skills. This is from another book. If you're really into this idea of reading conferring, Saravello has a book called A Teacher's Guide to Reading Conferences. And we've talked about this hierarchy here on the right in Understanding Texts and Readers. In her A Teacher's Guide to Reading Conferences, she also has each of those goals from the hierarchy chart broken down into what that progression looks like from emergent reader to transitional reader to independent reader. Over my years of teaching, I've also collected just some leveled texts that I feel are accurately leveled, and I enjoy using them. This might be something that I can just grab if I'm curious. Johnny has been doing a really great job with his KLM books. I wonder what it would look like if he tried an NOPQ book. And I might hand him a leveled book and just have him read a little bit out loud to me so I can see, actually he's hanging in there. Maybe we could try an NOPQ book next. So this is something that comes with time and collecting just things over my years of teaching. So I keep that handy as well. Sample student work. So when we're working on stop and jots for reading and response to reading through writing, it's always a great idea to have samples from previous students that you've had, or if your curriculum provides sample student work, we can talk about, what makes this student's response a 1-star, a 2-star, 3-star. Where do you think your work falls on this continuum? And comparing their work to another student's work to help them lift their language or lift their content. I always keep my mentor or anchor texts with me as well, whatever we're working on at the moment, so that we can say, now, how did our author that we're studying do that? Do you remember that? What is our main character struggling with on this page, and how does that relate to the book you're reading, kind of thing? So it's great to keep mentor texts around. and just any other classroom tools or charts or infographics that you like. I share in my Conferring Flipgrid video that I love to keep a list of character traits in my Conferring binder. You might also like to keep, a thesaurus kind of idea, different ways to say said for our writers that like to say said and said over again. Maybe we're using a plot diagram and talking to students about plot structure and where are you in your story on this plot structure. Other helpful tools, it's immensely helpful for me to always have a whiteboard and a dry erase marker. We have a rule in our school that we never take a writing utensil out of a child's hand. Whether it's math or reading or writing or any subject, we have our own writing utensil. Never take that child's power or tool away. It's nice to have scissors, tapes, and staplers too, because I like to have my students staple or tape or cut out anchor charts and glue them right into their reader's notebook or writer's notebook so they don't lose them. And highlighting tape, highlighters, and Post-it flags are also just super helpful, and they make the kids feel fantastic and special and adult, that they're doing such important work that we need to use our important office tools to make sure that we do our best work possible and feel so proud of it. So that's an inside look into what I love to see in Conferring toolkits, and I cannot wait to hear in your Flipgrid video what your favorite tools are, whether you steal them from my presentation here or you have others that you'd love to share.